Hello students, so in this video we'll learn the thoracic vertebra. So as we know there are 12 thoracic vertebra, and out of this 12 thoracic vertebra the first one, that is T1, the 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th, these 5 thoracic vertebra are called the atypical thoracic vertebra as they have got some different features, while remaining 2 to 8 thoracic vertebra, they are having a common features, and that's why they are known as the typical thoracic vertebra. So first we'll see the typical thoracic vertebra. This vertebra which I am holding is the thoracic vertebra. Now how will you identify the thoracic vertebra? So each thoracic vertebra is identified by the presence of a costal facet, on the body. The one or half costal facet in relation to the upper part of this body, while thus another half demifacets or the costal facet in relation to the lower part of the body. So presence of at least a one or half costal facet or the two demifacets on either side of the body is the identification point of any thoracic vertebra. If there is a costal facet, then it is always a thoracic vertebrae, because we have got the rib cage in relation to the thoracic vertebra only. Another is the body, which is a heart shape. So heart shape body and presence of costal facet, these two things will told you that this vertebra is a thoracic vertebra. Now what are the parts of each thoracic vertebra? If you see, each thoracic vertebra has got the body. Behind the body on either side you have got the pedicles. These pedicles, if you trace it posteriorly and the medial side, you have got the lamina. On either side each lamina is there. From the junction of this pedicle and the lamina there is a process which passes backward and laterally. It is known as the transverse process, and from the junction of this lamina there is another process that is in the midline, that is called as the spine or the spinous process. Apart from this, from the junction of this pedicle as well as the lamina, superiorly you have got a superior articular process, while inferiorly you have got the inferior articular process. The inferior articular process in case of the thoracic vertebra is fused with the lamina of the thoracic vertebra. So these are the parts. Now we'll see the one by one the description of each part. So first we'll see the body. If you see the body of thoracic vertebra, the body is heart shape and it is smaller as compared to the body of a lumbar vertebra, while it is somewhat larger compared to the body of the cervical vertebra. Further, if you see the body, it has got the superior surface, it has got inferior surface, it has got anterior surface, it has got posterior surface which forms the anterior part of this vertebral canal or the vertebral foramen. On each body, on either side, you have got the demifacet or the costal facets. So in case of a typical thoracic vertebra, see, if you see this typical thoracic vertebra, this both are the typical thoracic vertebra. If you see them, in its upper part there is a half process, so this is called the demiprocess or demifacet. Rib which articulates with this demifacet is of the same number. So the second thoracic vertebra, then the rib which articulates over here will be the second rib, while the lower demifacet, it will articulate with the next lower rib. So next lower rib will articulate over here, half over here and the half over this demifacet which is there in the upper part of the lower rib. Posteriorly from this body there are the pedicles. So pedicle in case of this thoracic vertebra, they are smaller and directed backward, directly straight backward. From, if you see this pedicle, the superiorly as well as the inferiorly, they are being notched. The superior notch is known as the superior vertebral notch, and this is known as the inferior vertebral notch. So the inferior vertebral notch is deeper, as in case of thoracic vertebra, the nerves, spinal nerves emerges from the below of the corresponding thoracic vertebra. The lamina, if you see the lamina, they are the flat thin plate of the bone, and each thoracic lamina, if you see it, it overlaps to the next lower lamina of the next lower vertebrae. From the junction of the lamina, there is a process known as the spinous process. It's an elongated process. In case of thoracic vertebra, it is directed downward and the backward from the junction of the fusion of the two lamina. From the junction of this pedicle as well as this lamina, laterally you have got the transverse process. So if you see the transverse process of the thoracic vertebra, this transverse process is directed backward and laterally, and it has got a costal facets on its tip. So over the tip there is a facet which articulates with the corresponding rib facet. In case of transverse process, this costal facets in upper thoracic vertebra, there it is concave, while if you see it in lower thoracic vertebra, it is somewhat flat. You can say the flat and directed upward. See, if you see this is flat and directed upward. The vertebral foramen is small and circular in case of thoracic vertebra. From the junction of this pedicle as well as the transverse process, there is a process superiorly on either side known as the superior articular process, and over it there is a facet which articulates with the inferior articular facet which is there on the higher vertebrae. So this facet is directed straight backward and somewhat laterally. Similarly, if you see the inferior articular process, this is the inferior articular process. They fuse medially with the lamina of the corresponding vertebra, and this facet which is there over here known as the inferior articular facet, it is directed forward and the medially. So first, the atypical vertebra which we will see is the, so this is the T1 or the first thoracic vertebra. If you see it, first thoracic vertebra, what are the atypical features which are there? If you see the body, see here the body is not heart shape, but it looks like a bean shape, or the transverse diameter is more as compared to the anteroposterior diameter. So it mostly resembles to that to the cervical vertebrae body. And further, if you see the anterior superior, this border which in its anterior part, this is beveled, so it has got the two lamina, and posterolaterally this portion is elevated. So this is how the atypical features which is there in the first thoracic vertebra. Apart from this, if you see the canal over here, this vertebral canal, it is triangular in nature, while if you see the similar vertebral canal in any of that is typical thoracic vertebra, it is circular. Here the vertebral canal is circular in case of a typical thoracic vertebra, while in case of this atypical first thoracic vertebra, it is triangular, somewhat triangular. The spine, if you see the spine, it lies horizontally, and if you see the body, in relation to the body, this superior articular facet, it is complete. You have also got the demifacet on either side in relation to the inferior border or inferior part of this body near its pedicle, which is a half facet, or you can say the demifacet, while superior articular facet is complete and it articulates with the first rib. So this is how a atypical first thoracic vertebra looks. So now we'll see the remaining thoracic atypical vertebra. The first we'll see is the ninth one. So the ninth thoracic vertebra is similar to the other typical vertebra, except the superior this articular facet is half. This one is the half in case of the ninth thoracic vertebra, while inferior demifacet is absent. So presence of a half demifacet in relation to the upper part of the body is the diagnostic, or you can say the identification point for the ninth thoracic vertebra. Remaining all the features, they are similar to the typical thoracic vertebra. If you see the 10th one, it is also similar to 9th one. The only atypical about it is that the superior articular facet for the rib is complete in nature. In case of 9th, it was demifacet, while in case of 10th, this superior articular facet is complete. Remaining all the features, they are similar to the typical thoracic vertebrae. Here also there is no inferior demifacet on the body. So this is 10th. Now if you see the 11th one, see, in case of 11th, if you see, what is atypical about it? The superior articular facet for the rib is complete and it encroaches up to the pedicle. So this costal facet which is complete and encroaches to the pedicle, inferior demifacet is absent, and along with this there is no facet on the transverse process. If you see the 10th one, see, this was the 10th one. Over here there is a facet, small facet is there for the articulate with the rib. Here also there is a facet to articulate with the rib, while the superior facet was complete. So these two are the identification point for 10th, while in case of 11th there is no facet on the transverse process, only this complete facet for the costal facet for the rib is the identification point. While if you see the T12 or the 12th thoracic vertebrae, it has got a similarly a single costal facet, but this costal facet, it is there on the pedicle. It is less on this body and more on the pedicle. So as you traverse from 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th, the position of this complete costal facet, it moves towards the pedicle. In 10th, it is at the near the pedicle. In 11th, it is at the junction of pedicle, encroaches on the pedicle, while in 12th, it is completely on the pedicle. So this is how the costal facets moves in case of the 10th, 11th and 12th. While in case of 10th, there is a costal facet on the transverse process also there, while in 11 and 12, as the 11 and 12th rib are the floating rib, there is no costal facets on the transverse process, and only a complete facet is there in relation to the body of the vertebrae. So coming to the further this T12 thoracic vertebra, what are the other atypical features which are there? As I have told, this is the complete costal facet which is there on the pedicle. If you see other features, see this spine, it is more or less like a lumbar type. If you see the body, it is large and more or less like a lumbar. It is not heart shape, but it is having a larger transverse diameter compared to the anteroposterior diameter. And this transverse process, if you see, on the transverse process there are three tubercles, that is superior tubercle, this is the lateral tubercle, and on inferior aspect this is inferior tubercle, and this tubercle corresponds with the three different parts. That superior tubercle corresponds with the mammillary process, this lateral tubercle corresponds with that to the transverse process actual, and this inferior tubercle, it corresponds to the accessory process. And apart from this, the inferior articular facet, this inferior articular process has got a facet. This inferior articular facet, it is of lumbar type, that is, it is directed outward, or you can say that it is everted and faces laterally. While the superior articular facet, they are of thoracic type. So this is how you will able to identify the different thoracic vertebra. Now coming to the attachment part. So what, if you see this typical thoracic vertebra, what are the structures that are attached to it? So the anterior margin, this anterior margin in relation to the superior surface, as well as the anterior margin in relation to this inferior surface, this two area will give attachment to the anterior longitudinal ligament, while posteriorly, similarly, over this superior border as well as the inferior border will give attachment to the posterior longitudinal ligament. The superior as well as the inferior surface, they lies in the relation to the intervertebral disc. This lamina, the upper border as well as the lower border, will give attachment to the ligamentum flava. If you see the transverse process, this transverse process over here, it gives articulate with the corresponding rib, while tip will give attachment to the lateral costotransverse ligament for this joint. this inferior border, it will give attachment to the superior costotransverse ligament, while this anterior border will give anterior surface of this transverse process will give attachment to the inferior costotransverse ligament, while superior as well as the inferior border of this transverse process will give attachment to the transverse muscles. Posterior surface of the transverse process will give attachment to the levator costarum muscle. Spine, if you see this spine, it will give attachment to the supraspinous as well as the interspinous ligament. Apart from this, several muscles are attached in relation to this spine in thoracic region. These are the muscle of the back muscles. So superficial muscles like the trapezoid muscle or the rhomboides major minor muscle, latissimus dorsi muscle, the intermediate group of muscle like the serratus posterior superior as well as the serratus posterior inferior muscle. These all are attached to this spine. And apart from this, the deeper muscles of the back are also attached in relation to the spine, that is your multifidus as well as the erector spinae muscle. So this is how the attachment and relations of the thoracic vertebra is. If you consider the ossification part, so each thoracic vertebra, typical thoracic vertebra, it has got the three primary centers, that is one primary center for this centrum of the body, you can say, while the two other primary centers, they will correspond for the each neural half. So this three primary center will develop during the intrauterine life, and they fuse by 4 to 5 years of the age. While the secondary center, they appears two secondary center for the upper as well as the lower surface of the body, two secondary centers for the each transverse process, and one secondary center for the spine of the body. So that is 5 secondary centers, they appears for the remaining part of the body to get ossified, and they ossify by the age of 20 to 25 years of the age. As far as the applied part is concerned, this thoracic vertebra, if there is a non-fusion of this posterior lamina, then there could be a spina bifida. And if there is a prolapse of this intervertebral disc, then it will compress this posterolaterally to the nerve, and depending on the nerve root involved, it will bring about the compression symptoms. Normally this curvature of this thoracic spine is concave. If there is an excessive formation or curvature of this thoracic spine, then the condition is known as the kyphosis. So kyphosis is the excessive curvature in relation to the thoracic vertebra. So this is in brief regarding the thoracic vertebra.